Yo, guys, hit that subscribe button. Give me the HBO special, help a brother out. So, we're going to be talking about Gaddafi, why he got killed. And it's pretty crazy. So, number one, Gaddafi's gold dinar plan, what was it? Gaddafi had long been an advocate of Pan-Africanism, the idea of a united, self-sufficient Africa that could stand independently of Western influence. A key part of this vision was economic independence. The gold dinar plan. Gaddafi proposed a new single African currency known as the gold dinar. The currency would be backed by Libya's substantial gold reserves, and he repeatedly tried to encourage other African Muslim nations to adopt it. The idea was to replace the U.S. dollar and euro in trade deals, particularly for oil exports. Libya was resource rich. By 2011, it had the largest proven oil reserves in Africa and 143.8 tons of gold reserves, estimated at the time to be worth over $7 billion. The implications of this. If African countries began trading in a gold-backed currency, it would challenge the dominance of the petrodollar, in which oil traded primarily in U.S. dollars, and would weaken Western economic control over African resources. The petrodollar system in Western interests. To understand why this might be threatening, you have to understand how the petrodollar system works. After the U.S. left the gold standard in the 1970s, it made a deal with Saudi Arabia and other OPEC countries to sell oil exclusively in U.S. dollars. The system artificially boosts demand for U.S. dollars globally, helping maintain its value and status as the world's reserve currency. It gives the U.S. unmatched economic power, including the ability to run large deficits and exert financial control through institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. If Gaddafi succeeded and other African nations followed it could have undermined the U.S. dollar's dominance, reduced Western leverage over Africa, sparked a broader global shift away from the dollar, something both the U.S. and EU would likely view as a strategic threat. Western's reactions, evidence from WikiLeaks and official sources. There's no official confirmation that the gold dinar plan was the reason for Gaddafi's downfall, but there are clues. WikiLeaks cables. A 2011 leaked email from Hillary Clinton's private server sent by advisor Sidney Blumenthal mentioned Gaddafi's plan to launch a gold-backed dinar. This plan was designed to provoke the Francophone African countries with an alternate to the French franc CFA. This email claimed the initiative was well underway and that over 143 tons and similar amounts in silver had already been amassed. French concerns. France in particular had a strong motive to stop Gaddafi. Many West African countries used the CFA franc, a colonial-era currency tied to French treasury. A shift in gold dinar would collapse France's influence in Africa. The same email suggests one of France's motivations for intervening was to protect its national interests. Public statements. Gaddafi had openly pushed for the idea of African Union summits. He had been championing a United States of Africa, complete with a single currency, central bank, and unified army. Number 4, NATO-led intervention. In early 2011, as the Arab Spring spread, anti-Gaddafi protests broke out in Libya. These escalated in full-scale civil wars. The UN authorized a no-fly zone and NATO intervened, claiming the goal was to protect civilians. NATO bombed key infrastructures, including military bases and Gaddafi's compounds. Criticism. Critics argue that NATO mission went beyond protecting civilians and morphed into a regime change. Russia and China abstained from the vote, later claiming that they were misled about the mission scope. Gaddafi was captured and killed by rebel forces October 2011. His convoy was bombed by NATO and jets before he was dragged out and executed. Aftermath and power vacuum. After Gaddafi's fell, Libya collapsed into chaos with rival factions vying for control. The country descended into civil war with which continues to this day. The Golden Dinar Project died with Gaddafi. Libya's oil production plummeted, and Western oil companies moved in. Through instability continues to plague operations. Some argue this outcome was favorable to Western powers who regained influence without a strong, independent Libya leading African toward economic self-sufficiency. Theories for facts. What can be proven? Was confirmed Gaddafi did advocate for a gold-backed African currency. He had gold reserves and political influence who tempted. Western powers, particularly France, were concerned about growing influence of Africa. NATO and Western intelligence played a direct role in the collapse of Gaddafi's regime. What remains speculative, that the Golden Dinar Plan was the primary reason for the intervention. The U.S. and France had acted specifically to preserve petrodollar or prevent monetary competition. Similar patterns, Saddam Hussein and Hugo Chavez. This theory gains more traction because Gaddafi wasn't the first. Saddam Hussein threatened to sell oil in euros shortly before the Iraq invasion. Hugo Chavez of Venezuela pushed for oil trading outside the dollar and tried to reduce U.S. economic influence. In both cases, leaders challenging the U.S. financial hemorrhaging faced regime change or sanctions. Conclusion. Was Gaddafi killed because of gold dinar? Maybe. I think highly, probably, most likely, probably 100%. Gaddafi, it seems like everybody that tries to mess with the U.S. dollar ends up getting killed. It's crazy. But hit that subscribe button. Tell me what you think.